IOL PowerPoint presentation for arts, music, dance, and drama for this year 2022. Tutorial details, very important. Name and surname, Hilka Nangula. Contact details, as you can see, it's given. Email address, hilka.nangula@gmail.com. Contact hours, 14 hours up to 20 hours. On Saturdays from 8 o'clock until 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock in the morning until 8 o'clock in the afternoon. No Sunday calls, please. I will not attend to them. Dear students, let me welcome you to the PowerPoint presentation of art, music, dance, and drama. The main aim is to equip you as a teacher, to enable you to transfer necessary knowledge to your high school learners. This PowerPoint will not cover every single chapter in detail, but in fact, it will give you detailed explanations to areas as well as questions to this subject that seem to be a bit tricky to students. It will also serve as a scope in so many ways. Take note, all chapters in this subject are equally important. No chapter is more equal than the other, but more emphasis will be put on certain areas where students needed more explanation in past assignments. Let's start with Unit 1, Visual Arts Education. Look into the various aims, find out how they are integrated in other subjects. Look at the 5 distinct areas of arts education. It will be okay if you look at the pages given, page 5 to 6. At page 4, in your guide, or in your study guide, the different categories and the way they are discussed. In case a question is posted where you have to maintain aims of visual art education, in such cases you may mention from the many aims stipulated where picking from the existing ones, because it's a broad thing, then you just pick the one that you want. Look at the definitions of both painting and drawings on page 27 to 28, up to 28. It gives you the meaning. Meaning, if you look at those pages, you might find the definition. It tells you, when they ask you to define, then you tell exactly what it is, what is painting, what is drawing. Define or tell what painting is as well as drawing. Very important. When asked to differentiate, please give the differences. Do not define. You might lose marks. If they differentiate, then you give the differences. Whether you do it in table form or paragraph form, it will be in line, or it means it's both okay. Styles in visual arts should also be studied in depth and with understanding. Look at different styles. In the previous assignments, in the past, the question of advertisement was a problem to some students. Although it seems so easy, study the questions and make sure you know what is requested from you. So what does the question exactly ask? When a question requires you to list or identify qualities of a good advert, you just does that. Or when you are required to discuss how visual art in craft are advertising, I beg your pardon. When a question requires you to list or identify qualities of a good advert, you just does that. You just answer what is requested. Or when you are required to discuss how visual art in crafts and advertising are applied. Look at the marks allocated and don't waste your time to write too long answers for very few marks. You might waste your time and then not finish on time. Unit 2. In Unit 2, we do more of picture drawing is done. Describe the importance of directions of lines when designing an art piece. That will be found on page 51. What will you do here? The usage of different types of colors in art are discussed there. Page is given, page 67 until 70. What is there? The symbolism of colors or the results obtained when colors are mixed. In this case, you are expected to write, let's say for instance, yellow is associated with sunshine, or black is a symbol of grieving, or saying it gives an impression that, maybe it gives impression that something is not good, or people are in a gloomy mood, or so that statement is not done, but then you have to complete it. This is just an example. You should mention what impression it gives, etc., and so on and so on. Also, please familiarize yourself with different types of colors and how tints differ from shades. What's a tint, what's a shade, what are shades, what's the difference, and so on. Please check those little things. In the same chapter, they also talk about focal points. What is it? What is a focal point? Ask yourself that question and then find the answers. Read and discover at least 4 places to create a focal point. So what do you have to do here? It is easier to understand the places to create a focal point when you use your own examples. For instance, instead of taking the example as it is, let's take isolation. What's isolation? What is isolated there? What must I do? If you just write as it is, you will never get it even in the exams. Okay. Think of someone addressing a group of students, or a pink flower which is distant from the white ones, totally isolated, or many other examples one could think about. And then relate to your own examples. You can take a green dress, you can take a plain dress with one big flower, you can take smaller flowers with one big one, or vice versa. Just explain it to yourself. Just see it in your own mind. I will explain it to your class rather than just copying. Sorry. Study different pictures as from page 88 in your study guide or elsewhere to get more insight. Shapes, Unit 2, the same unit. Please look also on page 76 until 87 for more light on shapes. What kind of shapes do we have? What different categories are there? And so on and so on. Colors, Unit 2. Like I just talked about now. Shades, colors, and so on. All those are found in chapter 2. What do we have in Unit 3? In this Unit 3, we have models. What are models? The importance of shapes, the relationship between shapes, meaning, and symbolism in arts. All those are found in this chapter on page 120 and until 122. This whole chapter, like I said, it's about models. Let's look at modeling activities. What are they? When you reach page 143 until page 144 in your module, look at the important facts to be able to define what modeling is. If you go to those pages, everything is clearly set out. You should be able to explain how you will manage lessons where learners are involved in modeling activities. Now, I want to stop for a while and explain more. In the past, whenever this question were asked, like not all, but from many students, they will write, they will explain nicely how you will manage lessons where learners are involved in modeling activities. They will talk about the lesson and everything, but then they will forget to talk about the modeling part, which is very, very important. They say how you will manage the lessons. So start from the beginning. How will I manage lessons? What will I do this lesson? How will I make them understand? Please pay special attention to those type of things. Working with clay, page 125 until page 126. Pages are given. What do I want you to do here? Explain ways how you will teach your art class drawing techniques. And like we say, working with clay, what advantages are there? Does it teach learners anything? Does it add any benefit if a child play with clay? Look into those things and please make a small summary and find out. In this unit 4, it has to do with collage work. What are collage work? Construction and collage work. Box construction. Now you ask yourself, am I dealing with a box, or is it now how I construct a box, or what? Reference are given there. Please go to the given page 154 until page 159. We talk about box construction and its benefit. What benefits are there? Why would people construct boxes? In this unit, it's very, very important to equip your learners in construction of activities, using other materials, and for them to know the benefit thereof. You also find out what other materials are used. In the same chapter, Unit 4, how do you involve learners in collage activities? You will find out already what is collage, the different pieces that you put together, what kind of pieces are they. Then we talk about tearing, folding, cutting, pasting, collage, and montage. State also which material is used in a process. Learners must also be taught that they should first know the terminologies before they get involved in activities. Find out for yourself, apart from what you will find in your study guide. If you are perhaps asked to give your own examples, will you be able to make a small summary for yourself, like should a question like this ask for examples, whether you will be able to give the examples or not. And when we talk about collage activity, please, I'm going back a little back there. Tearing, what do you do? What do you tear? Folding, cutting, what type of things can you cut? If it comes to pasting, what do you need? Maybe glue, piece of paper, all those things. Please take in mind and describe the things accordingly. Don't forget to look at the marks, how much marks or how many marks are allocated. If it's too little, don't waste too much time. If it's a lot of marks, think a little bit deeper and make a good summary. What do we have in Unit 5? Teaching and assessing visual art creation. Very, very, very important. Evaluate, assessment. How do I assist? You have all those learners who are coming up, like we're talking about art, whether it's dancing, whether it's drawing, whether it's what type of art, it doesn't matter. How shall we assess this work? It's not just taking a pen and write, but look at the different components. Discuss what preparation a teacher should do before attempting an art lesson. Before you start with any art lesson, what should you do? Lesson preparation sounds very easy, but remember, It depends from lesson to lesson. If it's an art one, let's look at a few points here. Preparing an art lesson is not as easy as just preparing any normal lesson. Why? It requires a lot of time because apart from writing out each step, you, the teacher, should plan which materials to use for a specific task. If you're going to do a painting, for instance, then you look to collect your things beforehand. If it's a drawing, the same. If it's a dancing, maybe you need also some instrument. Just see what will I need beforehand, so that you don't have to run around to look for whatever is missing in the lesson. And inform or prepare your learners also beforehand. If the learners have to collect the materials, they should be told beforehand to do so. You tell them what to do, what kind of material should they collect, how early or how many days before the time do they have to bring the material, and so on and so on. Also prepare them, or tell them also, if the lesson is going over 2 periods, tell them it will be a double period, and so on, so that they know beforehand. When the instruction requires from you to write a lesson plan, do just that. But on the other hand, the question could as well require the steps only, without doing a practical lesson plan, without the standard format. Just look deep what is exactly required. So many times we find students that are writing a lesson plan which is not required at all. You're wasting your time and you're wasting your energy, and then you got very few marks. Please look, are they looking for the format, or are they going for step by step? What exactly is needed? What about if you have to discuss the ways how a teacher should manage a successful art class so that order is maintained? So many times we do not really reach our objectives. Everything is planned accordingly. The learners are on time, teachers are on time, but is the learner, in the end, you assess or you evaluate yourself. Was I really successful? Or did I really manage these learners the way it's supposed to be? They say how to manage a successful art class so that order is maintained. Were there order in class? Whether learners not maybe throwing each other with clay, if it was a clay thing, or if perhaps if they were using highlighters and colors, did they not throw each other? Did they use it correctly? Did they not color the desk? Did you maintain order? Was there too much noise? Could you control learners? What is this? It's very, very important if the teacher apply classroom management. Maintain your lesson. Go through Unit 5 in your study guide, the whole Unit 5, and compare 5.1 and 5.2, which is on page 178. It's not exactly the same thing. Assessment guidelines, methods of assessment, as well as grade description in junior secondary phase must be taken into consideration. See here, ask yourself why teachers have to assess and study also the types of continuous assessment. First, you ask yourself, why do we have to assess continuously? What do I assess? When do I assess? How do I assess? What are the main things I'm looking at? They say, ask yourself what teachers have to assess and study also the types of continuous assessment. The type of assessment, you will find them. Explain how you, being a teacher of junior secondary or yes, should react to praise and criticism. Look at the pages which I've given you there. Praise and criticism. Some people cannot handle this. If they are praised, they go overboard. They dance and go on, and they are very, very proud, and they even go over the limit sometimes. People can, if you praise them, but let's be cool. Even if someone praise you, do it in a very, handle it in a very good way. There are a few points that one have to look at. Don't think you are always better than others when people praise you for that specific day. What about criticism now? This is very another vital point. Some people cannot handle criticism. Criticism also come in. It could be negative or positive. If people criticize you, it gives you most of the time it gives you actually, it also a level where you can grow. It gives you the opportunity to grow. People might criticize you, but then look at the person who, look at the critic. Are you really doing that thing wrong? Or look at the points where you can improve. Why are the people saying this? Why are they not saying this? Am I really saying this very bad? And so on. And also think about to praise the critic. Thank that person for criticizing you, because it gives you the opportunity to grow. Especially when it comes to positive criticism, it's always a plus. The other important point here is managing a successful art class. This one is only the page which is given there, but we discussed it before this. We discussed this one before. Let's look at the point here, the basic music aspects in Unit 6. Aims of music in education setting. Why music? Does music bring any good things in our life? Yes. There are so many ways in which music can bring or can make us positive. Terminologies in music. Before I go to terminologies, let's look at aims of music. Music make you positive in many, many ways. Think about the athletes, for instance. When they look at music, it always gives them, it makes them feel good. And even if you study and you listen to music, oh, it's so soothing. And it gives many, many other good things to a person. It always motivates us. Terminologies in music, page 213 until 219. What kind of terminologies are there? There is no way how a person will be able to study music or to know more music without knowing the terminologies. First, a student, teach your students the terminologies. What is harmony? What is tempo? What is soprano, tenor, rhythm, bass, and so on. Just to mention a few. Once you know all those terminologies, whether you're going to, let's say if you love music, whether you're going to do it a cappella or whether you're doing it with instruments, at least you know. Or if it's not yourself, you might be even a music teacher. And if you're a music teacher and you don't know these terminologies, I don't think you'll be able to evaluate your learners, because you have to know if this child or if this person doing it the correct way or maybe thinking about the careers in music. Music genres and examples of each. Those are found on page 219 and 233. What are they? A music is a conventional category, that's not according to the dictionary, that identifies more pieces of music as belonging to a shared tradition or set of conventions. That's now music. Think about the music genre that are popular today. What am I talking about? When I talk about the genre, we're talking about the types of music, for instance, where they have originated from, which kinds do we find today. Put them in different categories and think about the one that you like or the one that are more popular. Think about the music that are popular today, that are popular in our country, that are popular in Africa, that are popular all over. Think about a few musicians and so on and so forth. Explain and demonstrate how to involve learners in melodious activity by using different materials and techniques. What is this now? How will you teach your learners? How will you make them involve? Music is so broad. This question was posted many times, and in the past it was not answered, or it was not tackled 100% that the way it should be. Some of the students will only think about the melodious part. Others will think about the materials to be used. Others will be thinking about techniques. They said demonstrate how you involve learners. Okay, you have your class now, and you want to teach them, for instance, a song. Whether that music now or that the song involves no instruments or not, they say no. How will you get them involved? Find in the book the different pages and see what you can do first. Will you take the learners in groups, for instance? Will you take them in pairs? Will you teach whatever you're teaching to the whole group? And then maybe how will you do it? Think about how you'll do it. Will you perhaps call one learner in front, and after singing, or will you first start and the learners will follow suit? How will you do this? But like I said, all the other components must be in. The material part should be in, and also techniques. What activities should be there? You're going to decide, am I going to teach how to beat drums, or am I going to look at the voices, and what material should be done? Will I bring in guitars? Will I bring in tambourines? Will I bring in organs? What do I want? The melodious activity. Or they say demonstrate. Excuse me. Maybe while others are dancing, one will come in with a guitar and so on. How will you do it? Demonstrate. No, it means write step by step. What techniques will also be followed? Will you ask others to be quiet? Will you call someone in? We will ask maybe others to go outside. What techniques, what methods will you follow? So this is what is needed. Think about the melodies. Will they hum the song? Will they sing it loud? Will they, I don't know, whatever it is, but think about step by step. But please, all those that are written here should be in the material, should be mentioned in the techniques. We cannot take one and leave the other one out. One also has to concentrate on various things here without copying. I mean, like, let's say if this one is in an assignment, or if it's in an exam, please just don't copy as it is. Why not? Because you might lose marks, and it tells the marker obviously that you don't know, you're just copying. But if you read and understand and come up with your own comparisons, actually you will score a lot of marks. Singing has to take place in one way or another. Mention the materials to be used and techniques or ways to do in presentation. Explain different steps. Step one, just like I said, I'll call one learner in front, I'll say the other one should see it, or the other one should clap hands, and so on. We mentioned that before. The study guide is there to guide you to the right way. But your own work, please, no copying. Copying will make you lose marks. Make time. Start early. Make sure you can make your own examples to the learners. Make the class important. Make the class not important. Make the class fun. Because copying will not work. Will just not work. Positive and negative effects of listening to music. Let me see. Yes, because this whole chapter is about music and aspect. What about music? Although music is such a comforting thing, it can give you good moods. It can also give you bad moods. Let's say, for instance, you listen to music which is bad, where swearing words, music, it can also take you out of a good mood. But let's look at the positive part. Positive and negative effects of listening to music. When tackling the effects of music, think also about the marker, the one who's going to mark your assignment or your exam. It will be highly appreciated when you write your answers in a table form or paragraph form, whichever you are comfortable with. On the one side, maybe it's the positive part, and on the other side is the listening part. If you mix up the things, we might not know what you meant. Is it now the positive? Is it now the negative? But please separate the two. You might start with a paragraph where you talk. I'm talking about now when you write your exam or your assignment. You might start with a part where you write about the positive part. Write everything that you know of, everything you have studied about the positive part, how in a good mood music can put you, how you can enjoy music, how you can motivate, how it can motivate the athletes, how even we can even say music is very good sometimes to patients. A person who's very, very sick, if you give them good music, if you play good music, they might even change the moods. Or the negative of it, if music is too loud, if people are using bad words in music, please just separate the two. First write a positive, or maybe first write a negative one and then the positive one. Just do it in such a way that so that you can give a clear-cut distinction between the two. Application of music in sports and advertising. Types of careers available in music. Please look also at those two, application and the types of careers. You could be a music director, you could be a music teacher, there are so many. So look into those. It might be asked, it might not. Application of music in sports and advertising. How do people use music when they advertise their things? Is it only jingles only that they use, or what? Discuss the possible ways of music in sport and advertising. That one we have said it before, maybe just repeat it. It was just an error. Types of careers available in music, and then list various possible careers in music. List all of them, and then practice. Unit 7, dancing activities. What is dancing? Dancing is dancing. Why do people dance? The importance and type of warm-up exercises. The importance and type of warm-up exercises before dancing. What is that? Why do people have to warm up before? Just like any athletes, with dancing is the same. If you don't warm up and you go to dancing, you may even hurt yourself. It's very important that people warm up before, to do only a few warm-ups. Depends what step you're doing, and then you can start dancing. look also into physical health benefits of dancing. Does it benefit us when we dance? Here and there you read about people talking about people that dance, they don't get age easily and so on, or age quickly and so on. I don't know. So it's for you to find out. The pages are given, page 130 up to 334. Around there you will find out. Anatomical terms, e.g. anterior and posterior. Find out also what is anterior and posterior. Those are also part of the methodologies. And if you are a dancer, you will definitely know what are those. Even if you're not a dancer, list the careers in music. Yes, there are so many careers. People who have studied music, they can do so many things. They could even some of them could be music teachers. There are so many. There's a whole list, very, very long list about the careers in music. Balance and rhythm. What is that? Find out what is rhythm. Find out what is balance. When something is balanced, we know what it is. But it's okay if we read on page 307, and so that we can read about those dancing activities and understand every word, every terminology, so that we'll be able to define them. Unit 8, Drama Aspects. Aims of drama education in secondary setting, what are these? Why do people, or why do we have to teach drama to all the kids? How will you as a teacher do it? How will you make sure that learners are interested in this, they enjoy it? Aims of drama education in secondary setting. Please study or read through this one also. How to involve learners in miming. What is miming? Miming is presenting a message without any words. You only make, you create a scenario when you explain something to your learners or to the next person without saying a word. We usually do that every day in daily life. Bring me that cup. Maybe you just show, or you say, I'm thirsty, I want to drink water, or you tell people to go out, you show with your fingers or with your hand. We do miming every day without noticing. So how to involve learners in miming? Will you teach them? Will you bring them together? Will you give them an activity? Find out how you will do this one, and then bring your own examples as well. Then you go to positive social impact of movies on people. This is I'll say this will be a mouthful. As part of positive social influences of movies, on page 425 and many other pages, in terms of the impact it has, okay, I'm going to read it again. Positive social influences of movies in terms of impact it has on Namibian youth. One of the positive points is that movies are inspirational. What is this now? How do movies inspire our youth positively? How is it inspirational? Of course, younger ones like movies. They will spend hours and hours in front of music. They'll even forget about their daily chores and spend 3, 4, even the whole day, even the whole night just watching movies. Now, the question asked is positive social influences. How do movies influence our young ones positively? Do not only mention the ways without discussing them. Okay? I want to say a few things here. If you are requested to write, if they say mention, just mention, or list, then you just write, for instance, movies educate us. But there are ways that sometimes this question can ask you to discuss. What kind of education do they give to people, for instance? Then you should be ready to answer that one also. And apart from the positive one, music is not always positive. The negative social impact of movies on people, how do they impact, or how do they also influence people positively? What if we get bad languages from music? Bad languages from music. Let's look on how this one will work. People are swearing, people are looking at the movie, people are sleeping around, and so on. These are not good examples at all. Please ask what is requested. If they say discuss, you discuss. If they say write or list, you list only. And then social impact of movies on people. This includes both positive and negative. I said that before. If they just say how they impact people, you name all of them. But if you are asked positive, you write positive ones. Negative, you only mention the negative ones. Then, at the last point here, we have general information after those many things that we have discussed. Go through the list of verbs used in the assignments and examination. They provide examples of thinking involved in each sentence. See those pages, Romanic figure 3 and 4 in your study guide for guidelines. Those must guide you. Good luck.